Hey, legends in the making! You're tuned to WWE Uncovered, bringing WWE to your screen daily. Hit that bell, and let's start. What just unfolded on Monday Night Raw was absolute mayhem. The entire main event imploded into pure chaos so suddenly that even the most seasoned fans could barely process what they were seeing. What began as an explosive tag team showdown ended in broken tables, shattered equipment, and one of the most cold-blooded betrayals WWE has witnessed in years. CM Punk entered the night, believing he had backup, believing he had an ally he could trust. But what Logan Paul did next redefined the meaning of betrayal and left the entire arena frozen in stunned silence. A main event set for destruction. The night's tag team main event pitted CM Punk and Jey Uso against the powerhouse combination of Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, a matchup that promised fireworks and delivered far more than anyone expected. From the opening bell, the energy was electric. The crowd could feel it in their bones. This wasn't going to be a typical tag match. It was a battle of endurance, egos, and unrelenting intensity. The four men collided with fury. Punk and Uso used their chemistry and experience to keep the larger men off balance, while Breakker and Reed countered with sheer brute force. Every slam sounded like an explosion. Every strike echoed through the arena. The contest wasn't just about skill, it was about survival. After nearly 20 minutes of relentless action, chaos spilled outside the ring. The referee tried to restore order, but the fight had taken on a life of its own. As all four superstars battled outside the ropes, the official finally called for a double count-out. The bell rang, but no one cared. The fight that wouldn't end. Once the match was officially over, all control vanished. Punk hurled Breakker into the steel steps with such intensity that they rattled across the floor. He went for a suplex on the outside, but Reed blocked it, using his raw power to lift Punk instead. Before Reed could capitalize, Jey Uso came flying in with a thunderous forearm to the jaw that sent Reed stumbling. The audience was on its feet, sensing that something extraordinary was happening. Then came the moment that changed everything. Punk and Jey began clearing off the commentary desk, a sight every WWE fan recognizes as the calm before a storm. Punk landed a flurry of punches on Reed, while Jey climbed to the top turnbuckle, ready to crash through the table in a devastating splash. The crowd roared, cameras flashed, and the energy in the arena reached its breaking point. But just as Jey launched himself through the air, Bron Breakker came out of nowhere. He soared across the ring like a human missile, spearing Jey mid-flight. The impact was so brutal, it felt like a car crash. Both men smashed into the floor as debris flew everywhere. Total destruction. Reed followed up immediately, delivering a crushing splash that sent Jey's body folding against the barricade. The audience gasped, unsure whether to cheer or fear what they were seeing. Breakker, fueled by adrenaline, dragged Jey back into the ring and held him up, practically offering him as a target for Reed's devastating tsunami finisher. At ringside, CM Punk grabbed a steel chair. The look in his eyes said it all. He was done playing fair. As he stepped back into the ring, the atmosphere shifted. Reed and Breakker hesitated for the first time that night. Reed then slid another chair toward Breakker, a silent signal that a full-scale brawl was about to erupt. The scene looked like the opening of a war. And that's when everything changed. The arrival of Logan Paul. The arena lights shifted, and suddenly, Logan Paul's music hit. The crowd erupted in disbelief. Logan wasn't scheduled to appear, and his presence instantly created confusion. Punk turned toward the ramp, a look of relief washing over his face. For weeks, rumors had swirled that Punk and Logan were forming an unlikely alliance, bound by their mutual disdain for WWE's new generation of powerhouses. Logan walked confidently toward the ring, eyes locked on Punk. As he stepped through the ropes, he stood side by side with Punk, both men facing down Breakker and Reed. The scene was cinematic, a perfect setup for a heroic rescue. The crowd cheered wildly, convinced that Logan had arrived to even the odds. But that illusion lasted only seconds. The betrayal. Without a word, Logan slipped his hand into his pocket, pulled out a pair of brass knuckles, and struck. One perfectly timed punch. One moment that froze the entire arena. The blow connected flush with Punk's jaw, and he collapsed instantly. The reaction wasn't a roar. It was silence. Total, chilling silence. Fans didn't boo or cheer. They simply stood there, unable to process what they had just seen. The announcers stopped mid-sentence, the commentary table frozen in disbelief. Breakker and Reed exchanged uncertain glances, unsure whether Logan had just made himself an enemy or an ally. But Logan made his intentions clear. Slowly, with that signature smirk spreading across his face, he raised his hand, the same one still gloved with the brass knuckles, and handed them directly to Bron Breakker. That single gesture said everything. Logan Paul had switched sides. A new alliance is born with the world watching. Logan Paul didn't just betray CM Punk. He aligned himself with two of the most dangerous up-and-coming powerhouses in WWE. Breakker and Reed accepted the gesture, standing tall beside him as Punk lay motionless in the ring. It was a visual that said more than 1,000 words. A new alliance, built on power, ambition, and ego, had just been born. Before the show cut to black, Logan crouched beside Punk's fallen body and stared at him coldly. There was no gloating, no shouting, just a silent message. CM Punk had trusted the wrong man. The betrayal wasn't about rivalry, it was about control. Logan Paul had just taken his unpredictable persona to another level, inserting himself into one of WWE's most intense storylines and potentially forming a new dominant faction. The fallout. As Raw went off the air, fans flooded social media with theories and reactions. What does this mean for CM Punk? Has Logan Paul formed a dangerous partnership with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed? Or is this just another manipulation in Logan's ongoing quest for attention and dominance? For Punk, the consequences are deeply personal. He didn't just lose a match, he lost trust. He lost an ally he believed would stand beside him in the chaos. For Logan, this betrayal cements his reputation as one of the most cunning and unpredictable figures in modern WWE. His ability to play both sides and strike when no one expects it makes him more dangerous than ever. And as for Breakker and Reed, this partnership could be the move that propels them from dominant athletes to unstoppable forces. With Logan Paul's spotlight and their brute strength, they now control a narrative that no one saw coming. What happens next? The WWE Universe is left with questions that could define the next several months of storytelling. Will CM Punk seek revenge? Or will he find himself isolated against a newly formed powerhouse faction? Will Logan Paul take this alliance to SmackDown and expand his reach across both brands? One thing is certain, Monday Night Raw has entered a new era of unpredictability. The lines between allies and enemies have blurred, and the balance of power has shifted once again. CM Punk may have entered the night as a fighter seeking redemption, but he left as a man betrayed and broken. As the cameras faded to black, Logan Paul stood tall, smirk still etched across his face, flanked by two of WWE's most destructive athletes. The message was clear. In WWE, loyalty is an illusion. Trust is a weakness. and betrayal is just another form of victory.